Anna Choi with Energy TV, the intersection and your source of inspiration for education, entrepreneurship, and energy. So today we're going to talk about death, and would you be happy to pass away today? That seems like a weird word to juxtapose happiness with death, yet I want you to consider that when you die and take your last breath, either you're going to croak on your inhale, or you're going to be complete with everything in your life like this and die on an exhale. And you get to choose. Now, how you die will depend on how you lived. So it's really more a question of, have you fulfilled and lived your life such that there's no regrets? You know, typically you look at all the surveys of interviewing those about to die, like, what are your biggest regrets? And it's never like, oh, I wish I worked more and accomplished more and achieved more and attained more. That's what I want on my tombstone. No, it's always about, I wish I spent more time being true to myself. I wish I spent more time with my family, things like that. So the question is, we never really know what's going to happen. And are you living each day as if it's your last? Now, again, that's a kind of awakening question to ask, like, would I be happy to die today? And most people would be like, oh my God, I'm not ready. And then there's a bunch of things that are unresolved, whether that's with yourself or with other relationships. And so my goal in this particular episode is to really talk about how you can get to a place and start to practice where you would be like, without a doubt, yes, I am ready. And I'm going to give you things to practice. Obviously, this is not a magical thing where you're suddenly at the end of this going to be like, okay, I'm ready. Maybe it could be, I don't know. Anyway, so the question to ask yourself is, what is your legacy? And I first got asked this question when I was 16 in a leadership camp. And all I was thinking about with guys and getting elected and scholarships in college and all these things. But I could not let that question go. Like, what is my legacy? What do I want to be known for? So I've been in that inquiry for now, over 30 years. And then a couple years later, at 18, I really hit kind of a rock bottom point, which was so odd because, again, had circumstantially everything I wanted: a great family, hot boyfriend, elected vice president of the school, scholar athlete, scholarships, like well-liked, like everything. And yet I was like empty inside. And yes, I was active in my church at the time, on the leadership, but none of it, I don't know, something was missing. And all I could say was like, is this it? Is this it? Because this is boring. Like, I already know I can accomplish whatever, but that like is only so far. So this brings me to the 5 levels of death at which you can die at, which will then indicate to you what your legacy could be. Okay, this is all taken from the Living Tao. That's a 5,000-year-old history based on nature. These are really timeless principles. So this really helped me when I learned those. So the first level, kind of, if you look at it, I'll go like this. So is pleasures like eating, sex, things like that. Kind of like what we share with animals, right? Like they just live and mate and eat and then die. And then there's, next is possessions or material things, which is like keeping up with the Joneses and trying to attain the most wealth and power. And then there's achievements, which is more about, it's a little bit going inward now, like getting all the things off your bucket list, could be helping people, things like that, but it's achievement based, right? And many of you have gotten to the top of the mountain of your achievement, that dream you've always wanted to do, and you're like, I've gotten on Oprah, I've done this thing, and then it's like, that's it. It's again that feeling of like, that's it. Is this it? Anyway, so that's achievements. So these 3 below are very relative to your circumstances as to how happy you would be if you were to pass away suddenly. The next level up is hongik, or basically completely giving of service to humanity and for the common good. Gandhi's, Martin Luther King level, like it's like totally making a difference. And then the last is oneness, and this is like enlightenment. You realize you are one with all, etc. So that might be like the Buddha, Jesus level, right? So these top 2 levels are, instead of relative to the circumstance, there's absolute timeless principles that don't change, no matter. You could have the worst of things happening around you, and you can still be in service to humanity and be one with all. It doesn't have to do with your circumstances. Okay, so those are like the 5 levels of death. And you get to choose, you do, of where you're going to die. Are you going to die on an inhale, like, and croak with a lot of incompletions because you lived your life for these things, like just more stuff, more attainment, more achievements, or just the pleasures of life? Nothing wrong with that, just that's one way to live life. Or are you going to end on an exhale where it's like, and a smile and complete, because you lived your life in service of being true to yourself and really spending time with those that you love and living a life of service to help all, including yourself. So that's my question for you today is, would you be happy to pass away suddenly? And if not, what's missing? Maybe there's an action to take, an unresolved issue, not living true to yourself, something there that would then prompt you to start living a life where you could, without a doubt, be like, yes, I am so excited. I would not love to pass away, but yeah, I'm totally ready. Like, I lived life to its fullest, no regrets. On your tombstone, what do you want it to read? It's never going to be like, I worked a lot, accomplished a lot. It's always going to be more around when they do surveys of people that died, right? It's never that stuff that makes the top regret list. It's things like, I didn't live life true to myself, I didn't spend more time with my family, etc. I took things too seriously, things like that. So ask yourself again, what would I be happy, like joyful to pass away today, knowing that I lived my fullest life? Okay, so that's it for today's episode. I have a daily presence planner that is a free tool you can use, and that question's on there. So this video helps give you a context to why that question's on there. That helps just keep you centered and grounded and making sure you're not getting lost in the foray of being an entrepreneur and working, hustle and grinding, and that you maintain true to your values and to what you want to be known for and what your legacy is. Anna Choi, Energy TV.